Hi everyone, what's going on? Today I'm going to talk about month 7 of being a dad. So, a couple things I want to talk about today. One is I've been a stay at home dad now for about 5 or 6 weeks and working nights and weekends, which has been interesting. It's been a good experience overall. Um, Definitely a good bonding experience with my son, Nicholas. It felt like we became closer pretty quickly compared to right before I was a stay at home dad. And I think the one on one time I had with him each day, Monday through Friday, was really helpful for that. We'd play and laugh a lot and probably at least an hour or two a day, just kind of like wrestling. And I'd kind of swing him around and things like that and play with his toys, which was fun. And also, it happened to coincide with when he started eating a lot of solid foods. So I'd experiment with all different like concoctions and trying new foods, one at a time to see if he digests them well or is allergic or whatever, but then kind of combining different things together and experimenting with that. And he would play with the food and kind of throw it around a little bit, but it was fine after I cleaned it up. Um, and now, very recently, we've gone back to where my wife is taking care of him more of the time, and I'm working more similar hours to what I was before Nicholas was born. And I think that's good overall. It probably works a little bit better for us. I think one problem is because Nicholas is moving around a lot, and it's a little more dangerous for him because he can get into trouble a lot easier now than he could a couple months ago. That my wife's anxiety around him has gone up quite a bit, so it's like it's tough for her to be away from him, but then when she's around him, it's mentally and emotionally draining for her because her anxiety is elevated and she's kind of worried he's going to hit his head and do all those things. But yeah, overall, I think it's working well, and we're just gonna keep that in mind for if and when we have another child, and kind of designing our life over the next like 3 to 5 years around just getting our kids out of that baby and infant phase and into the kind of child phase where they can potentially go to school or just be more independent. The other major thing I want to talk about is that my mother-in-law is going to be coming starting next week, and she's going to be staying with us in our two-bedroom apartment for about 3.5 months. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go. I do have a little bit of experience because my wife and I, at one point, stayed with her in Brazil. I want to say about 4 years ago. We lived with her for about 6 weeks, so not quite as much time. I think she's going to be here for like 14 weeks or something like that, or 15 weeks. So but 6 weeks is still a substantial amount of time. So I am a little bit of aware of what the good, the bad, and the ugly can be of the three of us living together. Of course, you throw a baby in the mix, and it can bring everyone together, or it can make things more complicated, of course. But I'm trying to keep a glass half full approach to it as opposed to a glass half empty, looking at the fact that it's she's going to come here, she's going to be supportive of us, and she's going to be very helpful with Nicholas, and it's going to be a positive experience for her, and she's for sure at the beginning going to be excited and happy to like help out in like a lot of different ways. So I was kind of hoping it would be maybe a few weeks as opposed to a few months, because I'm pretty confident those first few weeks will go well. I'm just not sure how things will materialize after the first couple months, if it's going to start like straining the relationship that we have with her, or straining the relationship between my wife and I and things like that. So yeah, we'll see, and I can keep you updated on things. But one interesting thing is going to be that my mother-in-law only speaks Portuguese, and my Portuguese is limited. Like, I can say basic things and have basic conversation, but it's very difficult for me to have a deep conversation or talk about any sort of complicated subjects. So I will most likely improve significantly over the next 3.5 months because I'm going to be practicing with her every day. But especially at the beginning, communication is going to be difficult. And of course, none of us can communicate with Nicholas. So it's like I can't communicate with 2 out of the 4 people I live with. And that's going to have some challenges there. and obviously my mother-in-law can't communicate with Nicholas or I, and like, you know what I mean? So we're all kind of in a little bit of a pickle there with communication issues, but I think it'll sort itself out. But that would be one of the things I'm a little bit worried about, that has nothing to do with just personality clashes, or just, do we have enough space where we all feel like we can have some alone time and and that sort of thing. However, on that same note, what I'm looking forward to is the fact that my wife and I will probably have more autonomy once Nicholas is okay and comfortable with my mother-in-law. Then of course it'll be a lot easier for my wife Ingrid and I to go on little dates for a couple hours, like go out to dinner and things like that, which we haven't really had much time to do between our own life schedules and work schedules and taking care of him. And then obviously if if one of us is working all day and the other one's taking care of him all day, it's pretty tiring. And so by the end of the day, we usually just want to kind of crash and not do much. So maybe on the weekends my mother-in-law can kind of help out a bit more, and we can have a little more free time, at least, you know, once or twice a week. So that's mostly what's been on my mind for the last month, kind of taking care of my son and reflecting back on that and thinking about and kind of coordinating my mother-in-law coming and how that's going to change our life for the better or potentially for the worse, but I think mostly for the better. And so I'm trying to just remain positive and optimistic about everything. There's a few, you know, other complicated things going on in life that I may address later, but just juggling various things, trying to keep my own mental sanity, trying to be the best father and husband that I can be. Although obviously I'm flawed and there's a lot of new experiences for me, but I'm doing my best. And I think as I reflect back on not just the last month, but the first 7 months after Nicholas has been born, I feel like I'm pretty satisfied with where I'm at. And I do think that making these videos and reflecting on things has helped me a lot. And that's the major reason I've been making them. Obviously, I don't expect many people to ever watch any of these. If a few people do, then that'd be cool. But it's mostly so I have a record of my own experiences, and things that I could potentially share with a small group of people, that it could potentially be helpful for them as well. But if you have been watching the videos, I appreciate it, and thanks for following me on my journey. And comment below and I'll try to get back to you, or send me a message through my YouTube channel and I'll try to help you in any way that I can. But until the next video, bye.